Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more buckshot testing, and today we've got a combination that a couple of you guys have been requesting to see here recently, and I'm quite honestly surprised we haven't tried it yet as well. It was probably one of those combos I meant to test a good long while ago, but just never got around to it and kind of forgot about it on the list. But hey, we've got it out here now, so we're going to see what it can do, because it might give us some pretty nice results. But as for the shells we've got today, I brought out some more of the Herter's buckshot loads. They are a 12 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, 9 pellet load of double-aught, moving about 1325 feet per second. If you don't know, Herter's is just the Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's in-house brand name, essentially. However, they are all loaded by Winchester and are pretty much just a reboxed Winchester Super X load. So even though it says Herter's on the box, it literally says Winchester right on the head stamp of these shells. These are a buffered load of buckshot with a little bit of a wad, but they aren't plated or anything like that. So these are about the standard, at least what I consider to be the standard across the board for most average buckshot loads, and they've performed like it too. Nothing impressive, but nothing horrible, so we'll see what they can give us through today's choke. But as for today's setup, I brought out the Remington 1187. It's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and we've got the Kicks buck kicker full in here. This particular buck kicker measures out at a 693 constriction. The buck kicker full in general is probably supposed to be a 695, but mine's a 693. Either way, it's shown us some very nice results with a wide variety of buckshot loads, so I expect to see something at least decent from this combination today as well. But as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. I've got the big sheet of paper at 40 yards, the chronograph so we can get our velocity, and the templates that we can lay up over our results. So let's get you guys a view of that target, take our shot, and see what kind of a pattern we can get from the Herter's, aka the Winchester Super X rebox loads, through this buck kicker full. Alright, that shell gave us 1314 through the chrono. The boss claim is 1325, so 11 feet per second under their claim. I'm saying we're right there and pretty much seeing exactly what we should be. So everything looks good for a velocity up here, but how did they actually pattern down there at 40 through that buck kicker? Let's go check it out and see. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and we see a pretty solid looking pattern here. We had all 9 pellets on the target. The white dot was the point of aim. The paper's 36 inches wide. And for our pattern, we see 6 of them that are kind of in a nice little core area. Then we kind of had 2 little stragglers up there at the right. And then we had what appears to be kind of the 9th pellet flyer down here in the bottom left. That 9th pellet flyer theory, I'm finding to be true most of the time when it comes to your average buckshot loads. Yes, there are better, higher quality buckshot loads that don't do that, but with your average stuff like these Herter shells are, that does seem to be a trend. Either way, I did measure the farthest 2 points across, gave us 21 inches of spread, but we had 7 3/4 inches for these middle 6 pellets. So 6 pellets at 7 3/4 inches at 40 yards there is still more than capable of doing the job for whatever you would need to use it for. This isn't the perfect buckshot pattern. We have seen much better from double-aught through that particular choke. I mean, you guys can look back, and I'll pop the card up here on the screen, the Winchester military grade double-aught buck, which should in theory be pretty much the same load as this, definitely outperformed it through that exact same combination. So overall, I would say yet again, this is pretty much what I would call the average baseline on how a typical double-aught load would perform through that choke combo. So nothing surprising, nothing super impressive, but far from terrible at the same time. But let's throw a couple templates up and get a little better reference as to how it looks. Alright, so first up here is our 10-inch circle, and obviously, like we just mentioned, we had those 6 pellets within 10 inches at 40 yards. They're actually 7 3/4. So 6 out of 9, that's 2/3 of the load right in there where you would want it to be. Not bad at all. The other 2 we are missing up here in the top are just behind the template, and then we had that 1 pellet flyer down there at the bottom. So not bad at all for a core area, but let's throw a couple animal templates up and see how it would look on an actual hunt. So here's our deer template, and when we roughly line it up with our point of aim there, I did favor it maybe an inch low since our core was a touch low. We have 8 of the 9 pellets that would have hit the deer. Plenty of them right through the vitals there to get the job done, no doubt about it. It may not be the most impressive buckshot pattern we've seen, but for a cheap load, these were I think $7.99 for a box of 10 shells. That's a plenty solid enough performance right there. It's not going to win any pattern test competitions, but it would simply do the job on a deer hunt. And for a lot of people, they're not looking to spend a ton of money and they want something that's just going to work. And that right there would probably be what they're looking for. So more than good enough for a 40-yard deer hunt, but let's throw the hog up. And I think it's going to be pretty much the same story, but I've got it. So we might as well take a look at that template as well. And here's that hog template, and it is very much so the same story. Plenty good enough for a pig hunt, and if you wanted to, or were put in the situation where you could shoot at a coyote with these, they would be just a touch smaller than this hog template is, and you would still have enough pellets to get the job done out to 40 yards on a coyote as well. So, for hunting purposes, it's nothing that's going to blow anybody away, but it is plenty good enough to get the job done. And that's not too bad at all for what these shells are. And here's the wad from that shell. Very typical Winchester type of stuff here. Even though these are Herters, they're made by Winchester. And this is exactly what I would expect to see. You can see a couple dimples down in there from those pellets and a little bit of buffer material, but no major damage. A couple little pinholes, but going through a ported kicks choke like that, this is nothing out of the usual. This is exactly what I would expect to see. So looking good here for a wad. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance right there? Like I just mentioned a minute ago, I think that is a pretty good baseline average. It is a middle-of-the-road buckshot load. It's not expensive, but it's not a cheap import shell either. And I think that is pretty much what a lot of people expect out of the average buckshot load at 40 yards that they're going to go hunt deer with or something like that. That's absolutely going to do the job for what you want to use it for, but it's nothing too flashy or super over-the-top impressive either. It would simply just work. And for a shell that's 70, maybe 80 cents a round or so, for a hunting load and double aught buck, that's not too bad at all. We've seen way worse out of more expensive shells, that's for sure. So ultimately, not too bad. We definitely saw improvement over a standard full choke when we went to this buck kicker today with these Herter's loads. So once again, the buck kicker shows that it is a good choke and it does actually do something. And it gave us a perfectly solid enough pattern. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you ever tested any of these Herter's buckshot loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a pattern or a combination you would ever hunt with? Or would you still prefer to see it a little bit tighter or a little more even or less flyers or anything like that? And what other load or choke combos do you want to see when it comes to buckshot in general, or that kicks choke, or those Herter shells? What do y'all want to see? Leave all your thoughts down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.